Never imagined my wedding night would end like this. Not with music, not with laughter, but with the sound of a door closing and my husband walking away. Just 3 hours earlier, I was his bride. I was standing under a shower of white petals, wearing the dress I'd dreamed about since I was 15. Everyone said we looked perfect. Everyone said we were made for each other. But they were wrong, because now I'm sitting on the edge of our hotel bed, still in that same white dress, staring at the divorce papers he just left on the table. The ink is still wet. My hands are shaking. And my heart doesn't understand what's happening. "I'm sorry," he said. Just 2 words. Then he turned around and left me sitting there, surrounded by broken promises and silence. I thought it was a joke. I waited for him to come back, to laugh, to say it was all some kind of stupid prank. But he didn't come back. The rain outside kept falling, slow and heavy, like the sky was mourning with me. The candles flickered out one by one, and all I could hear was my own heartbeat, breaking. I keep asking myself, what changed between morning and midnight? How can a man hold your hand, promise you forever, and then walk away before the night even ends? I don't know the answer yet, but I know one thing for sure. That night I didn't just lose a husband. I lost the version of myself that believed in fairy tales. Pause beat. If I had known the truth hiding behind his silence, I would have never said I do. My name is Evelyn, and this is the story of how my marriage ended before it even began. I met Daniel 2 years ago at my best friend Clara's engagement party. He was standing near the piano, wearing that kind of effortless smile that could melt away the noise around him. He wasn't loud. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He just seemed calm, like he'd seen the world fall apart and somehow learned how to stay still. I wasn't looking for love. Not after what happened with my ex, Ryan. That story still leaves scars. But Daniel had this quiet kindness that made you forget your fears. He offered me a glass of champagne. "You look like you could use a friend," he said. I laughed. "You don't even know me." "Maybe not," he said, "but I'd like to." And that's how it began. Our first date was simple. Coffee, laughter, awkward silence, and a few too many glances. He asked me about my dreams, my fears, my favorite childhood memory. No one had ever asked me that before. The way he listened made me feel safe, seen, like maybe, just maybe, love didn't have to hurt this time. Weeks turned into months. We started spending every weekend together. He met my parents, brought flowers for my mom, fixed my dad's old car like it was nothing. Everyone adored him. "He's the one," my mom whispered once. I can see it in his eyes. And I believed her. Because when Daniel looked at me, I saw honesty. Or at least I thought I did. There were little things, though. When I asked, he'd smile and say, "Just thinking about work." But there was something in that smile, a kind of sadness I couldn't name. One night I found an old photo in his wallet. It was worn out like he'd been carrying it for years. A woman I didn't recognize. When I asked who she was, his whole expression changed. "Just someone I used to know," he said quickly. Then he changed the subject. I should have pressed him. I should have asked more. But love makes you blind. Or maybe it makes you see what you want to see. So I smiled and let it go. I met Daniel 2 years before our wedding. It wasn't some grand love story. At least not in the beginning. I was a new marketing assistant, fresh out of college, still learning how to breathe in a city that never stopped moving. He was my manager, confident, charming, the kind of man who could walk into any room and own it. The first time he smiled at me, I felt seen, not just noticed, seen. And that's dangerous, isn't it? Because when someone finally sees you, you start to believe everything they say. He brought me coffee every morning, remembered how I liked it. He'd stay late to help me finish reports, though half the time we just talked about dreams, fears, childhood stories. It was easy to fall for him. Too easy. My friends warned me. They said office romances never end well. I laughed because love makes you feel invincible. Until it doesn't. 6 months later, he proposed. Not in a grand restaurant or on a beach, but in the middle of our tiny apartment, barefoot, holding a cheap ring he said he couldn't wait to replace. "Forever doesn't need diamonds," he whispered. "It just needs you." And I believed him. God, I believed him. Our engagement felt like a dream. My mother adored him. My friends called us the perfect match. I ignored the tiny moments that didn't fit the picture. The way his phone always faced down. The late-night texts he said were work, the times he disappeared for hours and came back, smelling like a perfume I didn't wear, I asked once. He laughed, kissed my forehead, and said, "You're overthinking again." I stopped asking. Because when you love someone, silence feels safer than answers. The months before the wedding were chaos. Fittings, rehearsals, invitations. He seemed distant sometimes, but I blamed stress. I thought once we got married, everything would fall into place. The night before our wedding, he stayed at a hotel with his friends. He texted me, "Can't wait to see you walk down the aisle." Those were the last words he ever sent me with love in them. The next day was perfect, or so I thought. The music, the vows, the kiss, everything looked like a movie. But when I looked in his eyes at the altar, something flickered. A hesitation. It vanished so fast I convinced myself I imagined it. During the reception, he barely ate. Barely laughed. He spent most of the night outside on his phone. I remember my maid of honor whispering, "Is he okay?"